Hi, my name is Wesley Etheridge, and I am the Principal Consultant of GCS Facilitators and Consultants, and we are the leading authority on military veterans and anger management. And today I'd like to talk about substance use disorders. But with that in mind, as I look at my DSM-IV, let me read exactly what it says. A maladaptive pattern of substance use leading to clinically significant impairment or distress as manifested by 3 or more of the following, occurring at any time in the same 12-month period. So with that in mind, let's talk about the word of the day. Addiction. What is addiction? Well, when we talk about addiction, we're talking about physically and psychologically, right? When your body is craving for a certain substance. And that substance could be anything. With that in mind also, we just talked about basically in the DSM-IV, it talks about the 3 criteria you must meet of the 7, which means that you may have an addiction problem. With that in mind, let's start with tolerance. When we talk about tolerance, what are we talking about? Tolerance, right? Simply means that your body cannot take the same amount of the substance that you had originally that you put in your body that gave you a desired effect. For instance, when you used to smoke 1 cigarette, now you have to smoke 2. When you used to have 2 beers, now you need to have 4. Okay, because your body has built up a tolerance, and that same amount, right, is not sufficient enough to give you that same desired effect. So you got to do a little bit more, right? So number 2, withdrawals. What's withdrawals? Again, I like to go back when you was that little kid, and when mom woke up in the morning and you came and you tugged on her gown and said, "Mom, I needed some Cheerios," and she wasn't very nice, right? But your other brother, he already knew that, because he was a little older than you, that mom hadn't had what? Mom hadn't had her coffee, or she might not have had her cigarette, because mom is addicted to the nicotine in that cigarette and also to the caffeine in her coffee. And so she's going through withdrawals, so her behavior is not normal. She may not be that normal, nurturing, loving person until she gets that. That's an example of withdrawal. Okay? It could be physically, or it could just be psychologically and just behavior, because their body has to have it to stay balanced. Then that brings us to number 3, taking in larger amounts than intended. That's you when you go to Cheers, the bar next door, and you tell your honey or you tell your loved one that you're going to only be gone for an hour and you're going to have 2 beers and you'll be right back. Well, 2 hours turns into 4 hours, turns into 6 hours, and when you come back, you're inebriated to the point that you can't go anywhere. Okay, so what you have done with number 3, you've taken it in larger amounts than intended. Number 4, unsuccessful attempts. Simply means what? Okay, you have the new year coming up, 2015. This is the time when everybody says, what? I'm going to stop smoking and I'm going to lose weight. Unsuccessful attempts to stop. Basically, I'm going to stop smoking. It may last about 3 weeks, and all of a sudden that craving, that nicotine craving is so overwhelming that you continue to smoke. Okay? So unsuccessful attempts. Number 5, greater deal of time spent trying to find this substance to put it in your body. Simply means locally you can't get it, so you may drive hundreds of miles to go get it. Okay? Unfortunately for Michael Jackson, he did the same thing. Sometimes he would fly all over the world just to get a substance so he can take care of that craving. Okay? So when we talk about number 5, great deal of time spent trying to get that substance back in that body to keep yourself balanced. Then that's number 6. Important social and occupational events. They're not important to you or as important as they used to be, so you may miss them. For instance, your son may be a 5-tool baseball player, and normally you're at every game. All of a sudden you start missing games because you'd rather be at Chills getting what? Inebriated. Right? You're supposed to be at your daughter's wedding. You're supposed to give her away. You don't show up because you're somewhere inebriated. Okay? So number 6, important social occupational events are not even prioritized anymore because drinking or doing that substance is more important to you. And then number 7, Continued use despite. Continued use despite the doctor has already told you that you have cirrhosis of the liver, and he's told you you can't drink anymore because you may end up killing yourself. But what do? You still continue to do what? Secretly drink. Right? When you go in your room, underneath the bed, we find a half a gallon of Crown Royal. Underneath your pillow, then you may have a flask. And you continue to do this even though the doctor has already told you that it's going to be catastrophic results behind it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the 7 criteria. As you heard here in the DSM-IV, if you meet 3 or more of that criteria, most likely you got a challenge or you have a problem. It's the holiday season. Take care of yourself. Your loved ones love you and love yourself. And thank you for tuning in.